Okay, good morning. Namaskar to everyone. Let's do the prayers first. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhuvah Swaha Tat Savitra Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Asto Ma Satgamya तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ओम सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सवीर्यं करवावहि तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्वेषावहि ओम शांति 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 ओम. Today is Wednesday, our general topic day. Here and there you've been hearing the term sadhana. Sadhana. In fact, this is sadhana word is part of our ashram's name also, yoga sadhana ashram, right? Sadhana. What is sadhana? We got to think about it because we often talk about it, but in detail we need to know. Sadhana is a spiritual practice which will take us towards sadhya. Sadhya means the goal. So we need to know what the goal is too. And we need to know sadhana. How do we do the sadhana? Sadhana is a tool, a method. Sadhana is the practice, and sadhya is the goal of our life. And siddhi is the perfection, and sadhak is the practitioner. So these are some technical terms we need to know. Right in the beginning, I'll tell you that sadhana becomes siddh or fruitful only if it satisfies three conditions. Whether it's a sadhana at the physical level, sadhana at the mental level, sadhana at the intellectual level, whatever kind of a sadhana you are doing, in fact, we need to do all of them. But three conditions need to be met. I would call them 3 P's. First P is purity. Second P is patience. And third P is perseverance. So purity, patience, and perseverance. Purity. A thing is pure when nothing else is added in there. So purity has to be insisted. That's why I always tell you, when you are doing sadhana, the place has to be clean, pure. Intentions, they should be pure too. The method has to be pure too. So don't mix it with the flaws. Don't mix it with the dirt. Don't mix it with anything else. Keep it pure. Then the second one is that we have to perform sadhana patiently. That means not in a hurry. I often hear that, oh gosh, I just do it while going in the car. Or I just, before leaving my house, there's a Ganesh ji in the front, and before leaving, I just do the pranam. That's not sadhana. Your shoes on. In a hurry you are leaving. How can you connect? Whom you are fooling? So sadhana has to be performed patiently, not in a hurry. Because today's style is everything in a hurry, hurry, hurry. Let me tell you, hurry is a sign of insecurity. A secure person is calm, collected, not in a hurry, will plan life. Great work can be done only in calmness. So patience is very important. It is a virtue to cultivate for consistent spiritual practice. That's why you need to set aside a separate time, a separate place which is pure, separate time where nothing else is in your mind. And the third one is perseverance. No matter what the circumstances are in your life, no matter how lazy you feel, no matter what the conditions are around you, you should persevere. Only then sadhana will be fruitful. Because many people, they just dismiss this perseverance. They think that, hey, today I'm going to do it, tomorrow I'll see. Yeah, for sadhana, you got to persevere. Some level of commitment is necessary. So purity is required, patience is required, and perseverance is required. So thoughts should be clear when you have taken a meditation practice. Just know that what are you doing, why are you doing, what is the method. So with the help of these 3 P's, you get your sadhya vastu. This is called a sadhya vastu. So keep your sadhana sacred. So sanctity and purity in your sadhana. Because a lot of people say that sacred and secular, they are one and the same thing. Sure, they are one and the same thing for the avatars, for the gurus. But we are not there yet. We got to cultivate the sacredness so that our secular life also becomes a sacred. So we need to do sadhana, because that's a very high state when somebody says that sacred and secular are one and the same thing. So ultimately they need to become one and the same thing. But right now for us, it's not. So we should not fool ourselves. We must learn to fill the sacred. It's very essential. Aim for a spiritual goal. You can devote a room if it's possible. That's the best thing. Especially in America, we have big homes. Devoting a room for sadhana is not too much to ask for. My own Guruji used to say that you have a room for your daughter and a son and even the guests whom they come or may not come. Before you give a room or a devote to room to anybody else, devote a room for God. That's where you do sadhana. One room. If you cannot do it, that converts your own room into a temple so that you can follow your practice with these 3 P's, purity, patience, and perseverance. Only then your sadhana will become solid. But you may ask a question that why do the sadhana? Why even do the sadhana? The point is that in our tradition, like last week we were talking about the 4 purusharths, the 4 goals of life. They are called dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. For all human beings, these are the 4 goals. If we understand these 4 goals properly, we know how important the sadhana is. Quickly, let me go through these 4. Dharma is a righteous conduct. A sadhak knows what is righteous and what's not. So if you want to lead a good life, if you want even to get a good job, this inner integrity, honesty, truthfulness, all this becomes imperative. So righteous conduct, ethical living is a concept of dharma. So to know what dharma is, to know whether I'm following the dharma or not, that is a sadhana too. So dharma does not mean religion. If your religion's rites and rituals make you a better person, then it becomes a dharma. Otherwise, it's only a drill. Okay? So it means a righteous living. So this is the first purusharth. And the second aim of life is artha. Arth. Arth is naturally you need some kind of a wealth to pay your bills. You need money. You need to stabilize yourself in life. That's arth. So earning wealth through ethical means, that is a second aim of human life. So earning money is important, but dharmically, with the moral codes of your life. And the third aim we talked about, so last week we talked about in detail, today I'm just only touching upon it, calm. That is the third aim. Calm signifies the fulfillment of the legitimate desires. Have a committed relationship, have a family, a good family life that satisfies the calm of most of the people, the desires. So a well-developed mind will understand that these two have their own limitations, earth as well as calm. A whole lot of things are ingrained in them, intrinsic to them, and in a way they give a limited sort of experience. Earth as well as calm. So that's why the Rishi said there's a fourth Purushartha which is called moksha. Getting liberated from anything that limits you or binds you. So that's why moksha's ideal has to be understood by ourselves. In order to do that, we got to have a clarity in our mind. Because what moksha really means, most people have no idea of it. They just have a vague idea that after we die, we'll achieve moksha. So it's almost like an abstract idea in people's mind. Moksha means a complete freedom or liberation from merely sense-bound or mind-bound life. So that's why the term Jivan Mukta. You are in a body, you are over here, but you can still feel liberated. That is a Purusharth, fourth Purusharth. So these are considered the four aims of life. But now we'll try to understand this for a sadhana point of view. Sadhana. Because when we start embark on our spiritual endeavor, life is full of contradictions. Life is full of insecurities. But when you understand this kind of existential reality of life, then you pause and you think, what is the goal? And what do these little goals, four goals or four aims in life mean to me? What is my real nature? Am I just passing through life without understanding who I am? Do I really know what is that unchanging truth about me? That is the reason we do the sadhana, to know ourselves. Then you renew it again and again. It's not just one time. You renew what dharma means for me, what earth means for me, what calm means in my life at this point. Then you start understanding when you dig deeper into it that earth and calm have deep limitations. They cannot make you feel fulfilled. What do they give? They have a purpose. What do they really give? They give us momentary pleasures, momentary security, and definitely comfort. But they are themselves limited. They are intrinsically limited. You have all heard about diminishing marginal result. This concept, I'm sure most of you are familiar with. It's like whenever you invest into something, after some times, you will see that return is not proportional to your investment. That is a diminishing marginal result. So this return is not up to your expectation. This happens even with the earth and calm. You have invested certain amount of energy and time. After some time, you feel you are not happy with what you are getting back. So that is why greed and lust are never the ultimate aims of human life, because of this concept. For some time, they give you experience. Sure, experience is there. But after that, they show you how limited they are in satisfying you. They are transitory, they are fleeting, they are very addictive. They are not liberating. And ultimately, we want to feel free and liberated. So I'm not telling you that wealth is not important or desires are not important, because if we didn't have the desires, we won't be here in this manifested form. But we got to understand that the happiness which we are craving for cannot come from earth or calm. We all are craving for the happiness. We all want to optimize our happiness. But we think that we can optimize our happiness at the sense level. That is a very miserable state of existence, actually. So that's why when we start thinking like this, what is earth? What is calm in my life? What the goal of my life is? Vivek begins from here. This is called Vivek. Very important concept to understand for a sadhak, Vivek. Otherwise, what happens if we live a life without understanding the limitations of earth and the calm? We are almost like, you can look up, it's a modern psychology word, hedonic treadmill experience. It's almost like you are on a treadmill, you're going very fast, you are consuming all the energy, you are very busy also, you are sweating also, but you're not getting anywhere. There's no place you are going. So when we invest ourselves only at the sense level, earth and the calm, what happens? We enter into this hedonic treadmill experience. So you are getting plenty of exercise, but you are still at the same place. And you think you are doing a lot, but there's no movement, there's no upward movement. So this is the intrinsic limitations of the sense life. Life lived only at the basis of the senses. And this is what untrained mind is. See, training of the mind is knowing the Vivek. But untrained mind think that no, this is what life is all about. Whenever you think that you want the happiness from the outside, this is an untrained mind. Whenever we think that objects can give me happiness, that's an untrained mind. Because what happens, you are jumping from object to object. No satisfaction, no contentment, There's always a hungry look in the eyes. Okay, a person who does not have a vivek, and vivek comes through the sadhana. Remember that. Because otherwise, if we think that the sense objects gonna fulfill me, they are going to give me ultimate happiness, what happens? We start hoarding, we start accumulating. But understand that no sense experience can give you absolute fulfillment and contentment. Okay, and this is something, this is not a theory, this is not a philosophy. We can check it out in our own life. That's why it's called the experience, hedonic treadmill experience. So when you embark on sadhana, to understand that there are higher experiences, higher happiness, higher fulfillment. How do you know that? Because you listen to your guru's words, you read the life stories about these great people. You do the swadhyay because that's part of the sadhana too. You know that this is not it. And then you start experiencing inside also, yeah, I have had enough of this. Life is not just for that. Because in our happiness class lecture in the past, we have talked about different levels of happiness too. See, whatever I'm talking about today, you all already know. We have talked in these classes also, and I'm sure you already know it too. It's very common sense. Levels of happiness. Or you can call it a ladder of happiness. Sense-bound happiness is the very first stage, or you can call it a very first rung on this ladder. It can give you only so much, sense-bound. And you are all familiar with the second rung of happiness, deeper thoughts, quieter thoughts. You pick up a good book, start reading it. It will create a flow inside your mind. Or you will write a poem. It gives you happiness for a longer period of time. So the first level of happiness is only as long as the object is with you, or you don't get bored with the object. Second is a little longer, because that is at the thought level. But then next level is even deeper than that. That's an intellectual level. It's like a vertical climb of happiness. Intellectually, you're using your intellect into it, not just only the thoughts. Intellect. You're solving something. You're trying to reach to that level where there's a more subtlety. Deep level enjoyment will give you deep level of happiness. This is like a very natural climb. But there's another level of happiness higher than this intellectual. Happiness born out of seva. You are not using your thoughts. You are not using your intellect. You are just only doing the seva out of the service. You flood your mind with the joy. It will change your mind very tangibly. And this is called a sattvic joy. So far, it's rajasic or little pinch of sattvikta. Over here, when you do the real seva, selfless service, that is a sattvic joy. But then there's the yogis, they say there's a higher joy than this. Beyond all this happiness, the happiness, the joy you find in meditation. If you have tasted this joy, only then you know how beautiful it is. If you have tasted this, you know that you have entered into the realm of Anand. This is what Anand is. Lower joys are Sukham. Anand is the very deep, and this is what transforms us. So meditative life is like that. Try it out and see. And this is what sadhana is. Sadhana is not just only asanas. Sure, we need to do the asanas. That's a sadhana at the physical level. It's our duty to keep this body in a good shape so that it doesn't become weak before its time. Sadhana is also swadhyay. Sadhana is also eating right. Sadhana is also seva. But sadhana, meditation, it should be must in our daily life. Meditation refreshes your entire system. I'm not talking about physical, I'm talking about the mental also, emotional also, intellectual also. Meditation. If you know how to regulate your Ida and the Pingala Shakti, it's better. Sure, you will feel sukham at that time, but if you get real meditation, you have become blissful. Let me tell you, according to Lord Krishna, no sorrow will touch you. No worry will touch you. Because you know who you are. You will stay balanced no matter what. But then there's another point, even beyond this, beyond meditation. That's called a fulfillment of the meditation. Because you got to keep on doing the sadhana, keep on meditating, but fulfillment of meditation is samadhi. That is the highest level of blissfulness. We are all capable of this. But you can understand this only through the sadhana, not just with the words alone. So you can see that we make a mistake when we think that happiness is only in the objects. It's like a first rung on this ladder. By collecting more and more objects around us. And if you are really wise, you will try to climb this ladder. And this is the objective of the sadhana. Learning how to climb. First knowing where I'm going, then doing the sadhana to climb it. And always remember, we are all perfectly capable of this. Perfectly capable. Once you get used to this, the lower levels will naturally fall away. You don't have to throw away things. You're not even interested in the things. It's almost like the toys which a child, when grows up, is not interested in it. That's what happens naturally. So this is what the world calls renunciation also. Renunciation is not changing our clothes or wearing orange clothes and running away from homes. It's from a sadhak point of view, the renunciation is a very natural process. You will naturally invest into which will give you more fulfillment. And this is a capacity of a human mind. So spiritual practice or the sadhana is meant for this. To help you enrich your human experience. Help you discover the higher levels of happiness naturally. So this is the purpose of sadhana. Want you to remember that. So again, remember, the basis of sadhana begins when you have a vivek. Vivek. And again, vivek means discrimination. And what is this discrimination? Discrimination between what gives me greater fulfillment and what is actually not fulfilling. Something can be very enthralling for my senses, but very attractive to the senses, but it's not fulfilling me. That is a vivek. That's why it said that vivek is to know the difference between the real and the unreal, between the less and the more, between the addictive and liberating, what is fulfilling and what is not fulfilling. That is Vivek. So an acute discrimination between these is the starting point of the sadhana. With Vivek, everything begins because it's like a causal factor. Causal. If you have Vivek, you will naturally have Vairagya. From a renunciate's point of view, it is a natural transformation of his or her life. When you have Vivek, you understand the relative importance of things. Because Vairagya actually means detachment from the lower. So when you know what the higher is, you don't want, you're not interested in the lower. When you know that higher and higher levels of happiness is so fulfilling, why do you want lower? It just happens naturally. So this is Vairagya. Don't think it is giving, going somewhere else, giving up anything. No, it's gaining something bigger and better. And that's how you become a rishi. A person who's committed to a higher growth, higher experiences in life is called a rishi. We don't have to have a title. We got to just have this kind of an outlook. We got to just remember that why I'm over here. Then you are a rishi. But we have always learned in other classes that there are some qualifications also to become a sadhaka. Qualifications. And what are these qualifications called? They are sadhana chatushtaya. Chatur means four. It's a fourfold qualifications for a sadhak. And these two are the very first two, Vivek and Vairagya, which I just mentioned. Primary qualifications. So it starts with Vivek, then Vairagya. Then the third one is called Shat Sampatti. Shat Sampatti means 6 group of treasures. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this. We have talked about it many times in other scriptures also. Shama, Dhamma, Uprati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan. These 6 qualities need to be cultivated to become a sadhak of this caliber. I'm talking about a sadhak who attains the sadhya. So that's why these 4 qualifications must be met. So in order to cultivate these qualities, that's also a sadhana. And with the help of these qualifications to climb up, that's also a sadhana. Now you can see that sadhana is all day long sadhana. Sure, sitting down is a sadhana. Prayer is a sadhana. Taking care of this body is a sadhana. But remembering all this all day long is a sadhana too. What is a Shama? Quickly, let me go through it just to revise. Shama means calmness of mind. A natural tendency to remain quiet mentally. Natural tendency. Highly sattvic people can be very calm. In fact, they are calm, quiet, illuminating. That's how they are. So we got to cultivate this Shama quality in us. Dham means ability to control the senses. First, we should know what the senses are, our eyes, our nose, our power to hear, power to touch, all those, power to speak, senses. We got to have the ability to control them. It's not that we should not use them, but we should control them. They should be in our control. Because our thoughts are generated according to our sense exposure. So take care of this. That's why sattvic habits are very important. So living a sattvic life is a sadhak's life. Having the TV on all the time, having the radio on all the time in the car, sadhak will not do it. If there's a need for it, turn it on, listen to it, then turn it off. But bombardment of all this on our senses is not a sadhak's lifestyle. Then the third one is uparati, ability to withdraw your senses from sense objects. See, uprati is opposite of rati. Rati means you are going towards the sense objects. Uprati is you are moving away from it. Not moving towards them, but moving away from them. Uprati. Because natural tendency of the senses is just to go towards them. Uprati is you have turned away from them naturally. Then titiksha. That's a forbearance. Ability to bear with all the dualities and the polarities of life. Titiksha. So in other words, I can stay calm, in a calm state of mind, no matter what. Because I need to do my sadhana. I don't want my mind to be disturbed. Ups and downs are part of life. One day, there is a sunshine, the other day, it's raining. There's a day and there's a night. These dualities, polarities, they keep on happening in life. Some people like me, others don't. So what? I got to do my sadhana. Keep your mind collected. Without worry, without anger, without reaction, without complaining, without blaming. Because if you start doing this, then there's no titiksha. So if you can hold your calm, you have this qualification. If you don't have this, you cannot proceed in sadhana. No matter how many hours you keep sitting, or how many pujas we might doing, how many tirath yatras you might be doing, that is not sadhana. So don't complain, take charge of yourself, stay in the high positive state always. Nothing should affect you. Titiksha is extremely important. Otherwise, what happens? This mind is just blaming somebody else. Titiksha is you are in charge. Things will happen according to the prarabdha, also according to the other people's prarabdha in your life. Endure it. Shraddha, the fifth one. Shraddha is described very beautifully by Adi Shankaracharya, just with one word, astikya. Astikya means a positive affirmation or affirmative state of mind where your thoughts condense into convictions. And you are perfectly able to accept the truth and reality of things. That's a Shraddha. It's not a blind faith. So let me repeat this definition according to Adi Shankaracharya ji. Astikya, when your thoughts condense into convictions. Because thoughts can be, somebody can change your thought, but when you have conviction, nobody can change you. So that's why I said when your thoughts condense into convictions and you are perfectly able to accept the truth and the reality of things. It's not a blind faith. It's not just accepting somebody else's philosophy. It is enlightened intellectual faith, where you are able to accept reality, where there's no cynical, skeptical attitude. Because these days we see that a lot. Very common these days. This is one very important qualification for a sadhana, Shraddha. Others are important too, but this is To me, I think this is foremost Shraddha. Shraddha in the words of the scriptures and the words of the Guru. Samadhan is the sixth one. It means the ability to focus, to concentrate. A developed mind naturally has this ability. Undeveloped mind is constantly jumping. It stays jittery, it stays frittery. That's not the kind of a mind sadhak should have. Sadhak's mind should not run here and there. It should be stable. I tell my mind to stay here, it should stay here until I tell my mind to move somewhere else. My mind should be in my control. That's a samadhan. So Vivek, Vairagya, Shat Sampati. So all these six come under that one title, Shat Sampati. And the fourth qualification of a sadhak is Mumukshutva. A genuine desire to know the self, to know your real nature, to know this burning desire to know the ultimate reality. Or you can say that it's a liberation from the bound state of existence, bound to the sense life, bound to compulsive habits, bound to compulsive thinking. I want to be liberated from that. It's not that you don't love this life. You are in this life to work towards this so that you have this moksha, full liberation. You adore freedom because your real nature is freedom. It's not about vanishing into thin air, into shunya. It's not that. It is actually awakening into pure awareness. That is mumukshutva. Your life will enhance if you have this qualification. It's like a high level of awareness. So mumukshutvam is actually awakening into full awareness, full consciousness. And who doesn't want it? We all want this kind of a life. So that's why these four, Vivek, Vairagya, Shat Sampati, Mumukshutvam, these rishis, they call them Sadhana Chatushtya. This is actually, these are the qualifications for starting out on this sadhana. They should be practiced every day in your own way, whatever your guru has told you. Because in order to be serious about the sadhana, you need a guru. Otherwise, sometimes you do this and sometimes something else, and then you just keep on moving away from your actual sadhana. Do not waste your time on unnecessary things. Renew your resolutions often. Just look at it. What my resolution is. Am I on my path or not? Commit yourself to start out at least half an hour a day. Sit down, think about it, see what you are doing. Contemplate, reflect. Half an hour. Out of 24 hours, half an hour is not much. And then based upon that, you can change certain things in your life. This I'm doing, am I doing it, which is taking me towards my ultimate goal, or is it just depleting my energy and taking me away? There has to be a growth within every day. Growth is always within, by the way. Triggers may be from outside, but growth happens from within you. The seed of your experience is within you. It's not from somewhere else. It's right here. So sadhana is about knowing yourself, unfolding this awareness. And for that, you need to meditate regularly. And do not look for the shortcuts. Minimum half an hour sadhana is a must. But in this class, most of us are retired people. So I would say minimum 1 hour. Minimum, not maximum. And as you proceed with your sadhana, you will definitely find greater and greater revelations. Do not stop there. Do not think that I have found it and this is it. You don't know what else is there beyond this point. Let me end this class today with this example, which I used to hear from my own Guruji. There was a woodcutter in a forest. Somebody asked him, somebody told him actually, if you clean up this part of the wood, you will find a mine over there. He started cleaning out the bushes, the trees with his axe. From morning till night, he kept cleaning it. And at the end, he found a mine, copper mine. He didn't stop. Next morning again, he started on the journey. Then he found a silver mine. He didn't stop there either. Then he found a gold mine. He did not stop. He kept on going until he found the gems mine. So that's why our sadhana also, we should not stop in between. I have done enough. We should never have the santosh from the sadhana. Santosh or the contentment is from the outer world, the sense world, the object world, from the material world. On the path of spirituality, no santosh. We don't want to say that I have done enough meditation in my lifetime. I have done enough seva. I have read enough books. No, we got to keep on doing it, keep on doing it. And we'll know when we have found the mine, which is a gem mine. We'll know that. Okay, so I'll stop it here and we can have some discussion and then bhajan by Rita. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaye Purnameva Visheshyate. Om Shanti 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 Om.